Wake up, filthy.
Hello and welcome to the Baller Sports Dialogue podcast presented by the Sporting Tribune. It's your co-hosts Brandon Deutsch and Grant Mona. Just blessed to be back. I know a lot of people were talking Super Bowl. We had to take our brief hiatus in the new year. We're ready to rock. It's all NBA. It's all us now. We are going to come out with a football show soon, but we got to figure some things out. This one's primarily basketball. A lot's been happening. This is post-All-Star break. We're recording this Monday, night after that abysmal performance. And Mike Malone, by the way, let's start there. Mike Malone was absolutely right. That was the worst showing of basketball of all time. I mean, I feel bad for the kids, man. I feel bad for the kids. I mean, the charities.
Worst All-Star game of all time, you think so?
Easily.
Wow.
I've never seen anything worse. I don't care that Tatum put up a phony 55.
Oh, I know.
I mean, it's like,
I
people are like, oh, it's the highest scoring All-Star game of all time. Steph Curry's 50 last year was more impressive. He hit 16 out of 25 threes.
Right.
Like 10 times more impressive than
more efficient.
More efficient than no defense getting to the rim every time. And yeah, he got hot and it's still impressive, don't get me wrong. But the poor kids, man. I thought they'd be playing for that charity. I understand no one wants to get hurt. It's really on the athletes. It's the NBA. Everyone's like, oh, the association. What can they do about it, you know? I mean, what are you going to implement? Clauses where they have to try hard, otherwise they dog. You can't do that.
Yeah. You
know, I understand that they don't want to get hurt, and that's important. But, man, it was abysmal. I'm not going to lie. I feel bad for the kids, by the way.
Yeah,
Team LeBron's charity, RIP, man. They didn't even try. Team LeBron didn't even try for them. It was like,
did they get a quarter? They didn't get a quarter.
They didn't even get a quarter.
They split one.
What about the target score? Like, Tatum was 2 points away, and they stopped playing defense. They weren't even vigilant then.
I know, and here's the other thing, too, like, how to fix this.
Yeah.
I don't know what you have to throw more money at them, right?
Yeah.
Because if you throw more money at the players, they're obviously going to want to play more. That's what the NBA is about right now, basically, is about players getting the most money possible. How do you fix that? Did you have any reasons or ideas that they can do to you can't go back to the old format, right, where it's east-west?
Yeah, no, and you can't. And I like the target score. I think it was implemented correctly. And there's last year it paid dividends. It was very impressive what down the stretch with LeBron with the shot, and the year previous people actually tried. Armand Tondrevier, our boy Armani Buckets, he came out with a really good take today on the radio on Arash show. And he was saying, it's going to ebb and flow. Like, this game's going to suck. Next year, they'll try a little more, and then the year after, they won't.
Okay.
I think, too, it depends on the players. I think if you had Jalen Brunson in that game, he would play a little harder.
Yeah.
Okay. I was expecting.
So you think it's the players more?
I think a lot
so
of times.
than...
I mean, a lot of these guys have been there a bazillion times. I think Jokic tried very hard when he was on the court.
Kyrie
did actually really tried really hard.
Crazy.
He played great. I mean, Kyrie was probably the best player in that game.
Yeah.
If you're just looking at pure efficiency and what he
Donovan Mitchell
did.
too.
Donovan Mitchell was great. I mean, but Donovan Mitchell, it's hilarious. He's one of those guys that would do that with guys playing defense or not. He has hot streaks. He's either and Paul George this is Paul George's 9/11 basically, a game like that with no defense. The guy, the guy only shoots well when a hand's in his face.
He went
we know
0
this.
for 9
Yeah,
from
because
3.
because we know this. You saw the Phoenix game. All the open threes missed.
Oh,
all the open shots.
Thanks.
If a hand is in his face, he'll make it. It's the
what?
weirdest thing in the
what?
world, but I actually shoot better when a hand's in my face too.
Here's a good segue. Him and Russell Westbrook are getting along just fine by the way they're playing right now. Paul George and Russell Westbrook are going to play exactly the same way, and I don't know how the Clippers are going to get through that, but I guess that's for another topic.
The turnover machines.
Yeah, they're both turnover machines. That's the thing, and Paul George last night, he had a couple turnovers too, and they weren't even playing defense. Yeah. Sloppy dribble. Yeah. Russell Westbrook has sloppy dribble. Bad shooting. Paul George is not shooting well right now.
Yes, and look, I'm a little more... I stand up for Paul George a little more than you do. I know you watch every game. I tend to watch most games as well of the Clippers. For me, he's a guy that is so good on both ends of the floor, but there's times where he tries to do too much, and it's been a trend the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Ever since Kawhi went down with the injury, he's played the same exact way.
Yeah, you got to adapt.
After that impressive run he had getting to the West Finals, basically by being the leader of that team. I know Mann played well as well.
Yeah,
Reggie Jackson, RIP Reggie Jackson.
Well, that's when he could shoot.
When he could actually play basketball.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he from that point on, correct me if I'm wrong, to the next season when Kawhi Leonard was out, he tried to be the hero the whole year.
Well, the thing is, it worked too.
And it worked at that time.
Yeah.
But hold on. Last year, did it really work?
No.
Exactly.
No.
Because they didn't even win the play-in tournament.
Right.
He missed a lot of games. He played hero ball. Now with Kawhi back, more pieces, he's still trying to play hero ball. And it's Paul, you don't need to do as much, bro.
Yeah,
get your shots up, play your elite defense that you've been playing your whole career, and still score your 24 a game. Just do it efficiently. You don't need to dribble 40 times to get your shot. For me, I just don't understand. He's had the same play style for 2 years, and he had to do it to try and take the reins off everyone else and become that guy. Right. But he's still trying to do it, and the team is talented. He doesn't need to do it.
That's the thing, and I think we're going to get into our Russell Westbrook to the Clippers thing now. Is that okay? Paul George had problems with turnovers. He had problems with the shooting. So then you bring over you sign a point guard that literally does the exact same thing that you do not.
No wonder
want.
he wants to play with Westbrook. They're very similar.
There's
players.
been this open campaign about getting Russell Westbrook in because you need a true traditional point guard, right? But this true traditional point guard, as you know, Laker fans know this. He's not really a true traditional point guard because he turns the ball over at a high clip. Yeah. He can't shoot like a regular shooting point guard can. Yeah. And sure, he can get some rebounds. He can start fast breaks. He's got a lot of energy. He's got a lot of intensity. Yeah. But as a point guard, you don't want the turnovers and you don't want poor shooting. And that's what they had with John Wall. And they just let John Wall go. Yeah. And then you bring a guy that's basically equivalent to John Wall.
I think he's a little better than John Wall now.
Do you really?
Yeah, John Wall was way worse.
The rebounding and the passing?
The rebounding pass. I mean, Russ is still one of the best passers in the league when he is more consistent.
And he had more legs than John Wall.
More legs. He could still get to the rim better than John Wall at this point in his career. There's some value he brings, and I think the Clippers are a better fit, obviously, than the Lakers. I think any team would have been a better fit. PG and Kawhi don't desperately need the ball in their hands like LeBron.
Right.
And remember, Westbrook was actually very good with Davis on the floor. We forget this. I mean, that was a good fit. Yeah. You give him a good big, he'll do the pick and roll.
I think him and Zubac, if he starts, would be pretty good. Right?
Exactly. And that's a whole separate conversation because I do expect him to start because Ty Lue is salivating on having an actual point guard playing. And,
I know.
And it's like Bones is a combo, Terrence is a combo. You just know he's going to start Westbrook and give that man 30 to 35 minutes, and that's going to be it's not going to be good. To thrive, he's going to need 15 to 20, 22, maybe 24, 25 minutes at most per game. Otherwise, you're taking valuable minutes away from Plumlee, Zubac, man, and that's why originally I didn't like it. But my point here is he should still be able to provide that burst of offense that the Clippers lack a lot of times. Remember, they're 26th in offensive rating. They have one of the worst offenses in basketball. They play defense. They can hide Russ defensively more than the Lakers could.
They can.
And
they have more personnel around him, but that doesn't take away the fact of his flaws.
Exactly.
People keep saying this around media is like, oh, he has shooters around him now. Yeah. Okay, he kind of had players around him that could shoot. After the trade deadline now, but before, you didn't have horrible players around him. Yeah, it's just he just wasn't good. And I'm trying to figure out why the media in general is talking about. Oh, now he has shooters on his team on the Clippers. Yeah. He's had shooters in a lot of places, but his flaws overcome those shooters at a lot of points. Yeah. He still turns the ball over. He still can't shoot. Yeah. These aren't issues with the team. These are issues within.
The whole team can't shoot. Besides Batum, and you traded Kennard. And Gordon and Powell. Yeah. A couple guys can shoot, but let's be real. Marcus Morris, is he an upgrade in the starting lineup over Marcus Morris?
Absolutely.
Of course. Marcus Morris is the worst player in the NBA. Anybody is. Anybody. Hey, can we give Marcus Morris his flowers?
No, we're not giving any flowers.
Wait.
Why?
I'll give him his flowers. He can't guard a parked car. He was
rated
one of
flowers.
I'm giving him flowers for being the worst player in the NBA. Okay. And no offense to a guy that's had a great career, better at basketball than either of us. He's a vet. He's been in the league numerous years. Had a good career at Kansas. But right now, I think you and me could give the Clippers more than him, and that's not even an overstatement.
Because he's
not
six,
even no,
six,
no, but that doesn't even matter. The point is, the dude can't shoot. He can't guard a parked car. He's taking time from other guys.
Yeah,
they Ty Lue benched him.
Robert Covington's not getting minutes because of him.
Because of him. So if you look at it in that
aspect.
Yeah. Russ is an upgrade, I guess, because then you put him on the court with George, Zubac, and Kawhi, and that's way better than Morris being there.
So you think, because a lot of people around here are saying, oh, now Terrence Mann's not going to get playing time. I think that's farther from the truth. I think it's going to be Westbrook at the point, T-Man at the 2, and then Paul George, Kawhi at the 4, and then Zubac, which kind of makes sense.
Kawhi's still positionally one of the best defenders.
Anytime you get Marcus Morris out of a lineup, it is a W for your team.
And I think that's what Jerry and Lawrence were thinking with this decision. I think they wanted to make Paul George, one, happy because he's been not himself recently, and I think that might give him a guy that can help him be him. You know, because Paul George did have his best year of his career. Finished second in MVP, third in MVP voting. Yeah. With Russell Westbrook passing him, and Russ still has that playmaking. And I've been really honest about Russ. Has always been one of my favorite players until he played in a Lakers uniform, and it's so sad. It's so sad because
the way it ended,
I really loved him as a player, and just being a Lakers fan, and seeing him, you know, be on the Lakers and that whole thing. It was just a bad situation. I'm glad he will maybe be able to thrive in Los Angeles. But you're right. I mean, getting Marcus Morris out of there. Hopefully, we don't see the Marcus Morris 6th Man of the Year award start trending on Twitter. Man better be in there getting minutes. Gordon Powell,
I was going to say, I just want to comment on the Clippers trade deadline moves because we didn't really talk about this. Is what they did, a lot of people questioned them not getting a point guard, a true point guard. You could have got Mike Conley. You could have got Fred VanVleet. But that would have probably costed you Terrence Mann. And we just saw what Terrence Mann did the game before the All-Star break, right? He had 26 points. He was incredibly efficient. He always is. He got to the rim. He gives the Westbrook energy, right? And that's why a lot of people were saying, oh, don't go get Westbrook because you already have him at home. You have Terrence Mann who can shoot better than him too.
For sure.
But you get a guy like, I know you're very high on Mason Plumlee. Eric Gordon, I was kind of questionable about. But the 2 games that I've seen him play, first of all, he locked down Devin Booker, who you're going to need to shut down in the playoffs. You shut down Devin Booker. He's really good from deep. He was shooting like 28-footers in 3-point range. And then you get Bones Highland, who's, I think they're going to mainly use him as a project, right? I don't think they're going to use him as like a main bench scorer because their bench is full.
I think they
but their bench is full right now.
That's the one thing why I don't. The Russell thing is like because Bones Highland throughout the year last season showed us glimpses of future stardom. The way he was able to take over
even
games,
in the playoffs.
Even in the playoffs, he played great. He played amazing, and that's why they traded Monte Morris and why they traded Will Barton because they wanted more minutes for Bones Highland. And that backfired. Apparently, there was him and Jamal Murray didn't like each other, and there was a ton of other things that happened. Reports about him maybe his motor not being there. Who knows if that's true. What is true is he had this opportunity of being on a championship caliber team in the Clippers, well, both the Nuggets and the Clippers. And he could get you 20 minutes a game and maybe become what he was last year and maybe become even better if you give him time. Now he's how many minutes is he going to get with Westbrook being on the team?
But here's the thing. You have Bones locked up for another year or 2, I think. Westbrook's a end of the year deal. It's not a deal that you didn't sign Westbrook to a 3-year.
So you signed Westbrook to win a championship.
Yeah, I think it's a win now move to get your stars happy. You always got everyone that's watching this knows, and you know this, you got to keep your stars happy. And if your stars aren't happy, they're going to want out. And Paul George and Kawhi wanted Russell Westbrook.
Kawhi, I don't think would care about anything.
Hey, look, Batum Battalion. Nicholas Batum wanted him. I'm all with Nicholas Batum. If Nicholas Batum wants Russell Westbrook, then go out and get him.
Hey, but I was saying the same thing. Let me just put you.
Marcus Morris did too, though, so it's kind of.
I was also saying, this is. Look, I'll bring this up. You're saying LeBron James. Oh, I trust him. He knows more basketball he'll forget more basketball than we'll ever know in our lives, right? Because the way he plays the game, and we know a lot about basketball, so that's saying a lot about LeBron James. One of the highest IQ players. I'm like, let's trust him. He wanted Westbrook. He got him. Let's trust him. And it backfired. It completely backfired. So I'm just giving you some caution. Maybe it helps in the short term with Paul George getting back to what he was. But I just don't see it as something that pushes you over the top. But I will say this. I don't think it's not going to make you worse, if that makes sense.
Here's the thing that my last takeaway from this is it's a minimum deal, right? The Lakers had him on a $47 million contract.
Yeah.
The Clippers are getting him on a very minimum deal. So you're not like wasting trade assets.
Yeah.
You're not wasting a lot of money. And if it doesn't work out, Ty Lue is a guy that benches people. He does. Yeah. We see it a lot. He just benches guys for no reason and puts the best lineups in there most of the time. And a lot of times the other times he's really not really smart about his rotations. We'll get into that another time. But Ty Lue is a guy that will bench you if you're not performing well. So I think having that Russell Westbrook on a minimum deal as opposed to Russell Westbrook on a bigger deal on a bigger team, on a bigger brand, it might work. Who knows?
It's always
a different
he's
situation.
The type of player on the Lakers, like he'd be fine on the Lakers if he was playing for $1 million or $5 million, because then you could surround.
And he had a
the
lesser
team.
Role on the team, not a guy that was established.
Exactly, but the problem is he was making $47 million, and you couldn't surround LeBron, Davis, and Westbrook with anybody.
I think did not fit around.
And that might be the trend of the future. And I don't know if you want to get into this, but the duos, the star duos, and then getting the rest of the team, better around, like giving guys like KCP or guys like that $15 million, right? Like, what about Jokic? It's basically Jokic and Murray, and then Gordon is not like a big three, or Porter's not really a part of the big three. So it's those two guys and a bunch of solid players they have on their team. Is that the future? Because we saw the Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving situation happen. Blew up in their face. We saw the Westbrook, Davis, and LeBron era. That blew up in their face. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. What star big three do you see that has the ability to win a championship? There is none, right?
Which ones are there right now?
It's duos. Book and Durant.
I guess you could say... Yeah,
but Chris Paul is not.
I'm not going to say Chris Paul
now.
is a part of the big three. They say Aiden's a part of the big three.
Oh yeah.
How is that a thing?
I'm sorry.
How
By the
are we
way,
just making these?
Probably the best player I ever played against, DeAndre Ayton. He was shooting better in high school than he was in the NBA, and I think he has a lot of talent. But let's be real. Some games he looks like prime Shaq, and other games he looks like a G League player.
Okay.
No offense no, he looks worse than a G League player.
Yeah. I don't know. His efficiency is horrible
sometimes.
He scores like 5 points a game.
Well, what about that one weird game where he had 2 rebounds? The dude's 7 feet tall. He had 2 rebounds and 25 points. That's weird.
But
he's not a 4.
No,
he doesn't get to do that. He's not a 4.
But I do, ever since they got KD, the announcement, KD hasn't even played for them. Yeah, since the announcement of the KD trade, Ayton did play really well. He played in 2 back-to-back games of 25 plus points and double-digit rebounds. So,
the point
maybe he's more motivated now. But
the point here is that's a duo with great players around him.
Right.
Chris Paul, good to great players. Chris Paul, who's still good to great.
Yeah.
He's not what he used to be, but he's still good to great. He's the point guard. He'll give you, everyone. The mid range isn't quite there like it used to be, but he's still a great passer, right?
Yeah.
And high IQ player, one of the highest IQ players that's ever played the game. DeAndre Ayton, I am concerned about the bench, but Josh Okogie looks great. I mean, he's proving a lot of people. Terrence Ross, they signed buyout market, great. Are they going to sign Reggie Jackson?
No, Reggie Jackson went to Denver.
Oh, we did? Yeah. When did that happen? That just
went
through.
A sneaky move.
What the heck? I didn't even get a Twitter notification.
Reggie Jackson is now a Denver Nugget, so he will not. And Patrick Beverly is now a Chicago
Bull, and we'll get into that.
So, but I want to go back to the Suns thing because there's a lot of talk. Every time I turn on something on the TV, every time I go on social media, it's about the Suns and Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
You need a bench. You need depth. Look at the 2 teams that made the finals last year. They both had depth. The Warriors had great defenders on their bench, good scorers on their bench. The Celtics had a very deep roster, and they got even better this year. Who is the Sun? You name me the Suns bench right now.
Damian Lee. Okay. Josh Okogie.
Terrence Ross.
That's
already 3 guards.
Campaign when he gets back.
4 guards.
Okay.
Who are the wings?
Torrey Craig.
Okay.
Well, he's a starter, isn't he?
Yeah, now he's going to have to start. So now what?
Wait, so it's going to be KD, Book, Ayton, Paul, and Torrey Craig, right?
Craig. Who else are you going to put there? You don't have anybody else? Are you going to put Jock Landale? No.
Jock Landale's kind of underrated.
Okay, and he's on the bench too.
Bismack Biyombo. Okay, you have no wings.
That is a horrible bench.
I know.
I'm sorry.
It is horrible. But now you're going to have to – Durant's going to have to become the stopper, and that's what concerns me.
That's the problem, too.
But can he go back to those Golden State days and play elite defense? Because you gave up Mikal, and I think what happens is a lot of people are calling them the favorites in the West.
Right.
I just want to see it because,
Yeah.
I am really concerned about their bench. We know they're going to put up offense. We know now.
Oh,
they're probably going to be one of the 1, 2, 3,
mid-rangers.
4,
Mid-rangers.
mid-range
everywhere.
kings. I mean, book
everywhere.
in. We know that the Suns are going to put up offense, right? What I'm more concerned about is the depth. Like you said, when it gets into a playoff series against the Clippers, who have way better depth than them,
There's a lot of teams
or even the Lakers.
The Lakers have
the
better
Lakers
depth.
would match up very well, and that's crazy because I know they have a long way to go to even be in that
about
conversation. We will in the second segment,
Okay.
but it really concerns me in a playoff series. As good as Durant, Booker on paper are, and Aiden and Paul, like, congrats, probably a top 4, the best 4 in the league.
Yeah.
But like, I'm sorry, I just want to see more. And you're right, the Celtics, they were in the finals. They added Malcolm Brogdon, who can do everything.
Probably leading.
Look at their bench. Derek White. Is Derek White starting?
No,
he's usually on the bench when Brown is back.
Everyone's hurt for that.
Well, everyone's hurt. So Grant Williams, a winner, just an absolute winner player.
Even Blake Griffin in his short stints.
Blake Griffin was like 5 out of 8 from 3 the other day.
Sam Hauser came out.
Sam Hauser, the tie
tying 3 against the Bucks.
Peyton Pritchard doesn't even really play.
Right. That's depth.
That is depth. And that's
championship
why
depth.
they are the favorite to win the championship. You look at Milwaukee, even Milwaukee has depth. I mean, they're going to get Crowder, and we say I don't think Crowder is as good as people rate him as. But let's be real. He can still play a little defense. He can knock down some threes. They got Pat Connaughton. They got Grayson Allen. They got, Bobby Portis. Obviously, probably the best bench player in the league right now. One of them. Right, with Norman Powell up there. So I mean, in the Clippers, look at their bench. Their bench
got better. Their depth got better.
Their bench could be a starting lineup. The Clippers
wouldn't be a good one, but
no, but they would win maybe 12 games.
Yeah.
But like Norman Powell, Mason Plumlee, who's by the way been excellent with the Plum Dog. We respected him.
The Plum Dog millionaire.
Plum Dog millionaire. Yeah, he's great. I just get concerned about Phoenix, and when we get back, we'll talk about the Lakers. But my main point here is, when we look at the teams that are going to win championships over the next couple of years, even or the last couple of years, look at Steph Curry. It's basically, was that really a big 3? It was Steph, Clay, and who? Poole? Poole wasn't really part of the big 3. Draymond really wasn't a part of the big 3. They had depth though. They had Otto Porter Jr.
Yes,
and they're lacking. That they're losing a lot of games because Gary Payton and Otto Porter Jr. they didn't have. Now they're going to have Gary Payton back, not until the playoffs if they even make it, because he's going to be out for 3 months. But that was more for next year. I think the Warriors are kind of moving toward, I hate to say it.
What are you going to say?
I think they're moving toward planning for next year.
Wow.
I don't see a scenario where they come out of the Western Conference.
So
I don't.
And I know we'll get into this in a second. We'll get into
that in a second segment. But my main point here is, this is the last point. We'll talk about that in a second. My main point here, look at that team, right? Kawhi. Was it a big 3? No, it was Kawhi, Siakam, and a bunch of good players. Van Fleet wasn't really a big 3, right? The last big 3 to win a title was the Heat. Yeah. I mean,
the Warriors in 2016.
Okay, KD. Okay. Yeah. That was it. After KD left, it was over. Davis and LeBron. It was Davis, LeBron. Who was the 3rd best player on the team? Rajon Rondo, KCP?
KCP.
Which is that more impressive how they won a championship, by the way. A record that I think goes unnoticed, the 57-0 when leading after, what was it, 3 quarters?
After 3. If they had
that is crazy. That is insane, and we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But what about the other teams that won a championship? Milwaukee
did.
Giannis. I mean, I guess
Middleton, Drew Holiday.
Maybe that's the fringe big 3. Maybe that's the only big quote fringe big 3 that can win a title in the league. But the era of the big 3 is over. It's dynamic duos and depth. That's what wins you championships, and that's what the Lakers pivoted to. And we'll get into that because Davis, LeBron are your dynamic duo, and then depth. They increase the depth immensely, right? Russell, Vanderbilt, Beasley. They got those guys. Now Troy Brown's been playing great. Mo Bamba, great interior defender. When we come back, we'll be talking about the Lakers. We'll be talking about which teams we think can make deep runs this postseason. So keep listening. This is the Baller Sports Dialogue presented by the Sporting Tribune. Welcome back to the Baller Sports Dialogue podcast presented by the Sporting Tribune. We left it on some Lakers talk, some deep run. Let's get into that game because I came out with an article, 5 things the Lakers need to do to go on a serious run, and I think it's possible. I think a lot of media members are getting a little too carried away, saying like the Lakers are going to be in the Western Conference Finals, and There's been the Lakers the past couple of years, and I don't agree with that, but the Lakers the past couple of years have been a laughing stock. I mean, there's no denying it. At the same time, I don't consider Westbrook a star. LeBron has never missed the finals with a healthy star. Davis was hurt most of the season in the Phoenix series they lost. I mean, he was even hurt then, right? So that was a series they lost. Otherwise, they'd probably go to the finals, and who knows what happens that year, the following year, to repeat, right? LeBron has never missed the finals with a healthy star next to him. So would you consider this season Davis healthy? Probably not. So if they don't make the finals, I'm sure that can probably still stand. But I get the hype because LeBron hasn't had two players as talented as Davis and D'Angelo Russell in the past couple of years. This is by easily the best Lakers team, in my opinion, since their title team. Even better than the year after.
Do you think? I think like the quality of depth they have now is
it's better, but it's just like LeBron and Davis were on another level there, and I think the NBA was different. It was a little, dare I say, weaker that year.
Yeah,
it was a little weaker.
It wasn't as much parity that we
not as much parity, and the Heat were a very easy finals matchup for the Lakers. I mean, if they were to play the Bucks, I mean, who would have knows what would have happened if they would have played the Clippers? Who knows? And every championship, and that's what I say. Xavier says every championship has an asterisk, and I guess you could say it like that because you don't know.
You can go down the list and
every year, like okay, if Durant doesn't get hurt, if Klay doesn't get hurt in that series, is Kawhi, are the Raptors ever going to have a ring, right? Or you can go to, if Middleton plays, the Celtics aren't in the finals. Do the Bucks beat the Warriors? What I will say here is D'Angelo Russell's 40% from three. What he showed me in that game, they haven't had a guard, no offense to Westbrook, ability to take over on offense in a variety of ways, to take pressure off of LeBron. LeBron played 29 minutes. That is crucial, and I know people are like, the Pelicans game, they look dominant against a very good Pelicans team. I'm sorry. Without Zion, they were playing very well. They won 4 out of their last 5 games. They were dominating. Ingram was going nuts. Jared Vanderbilt, who I think was the most underrated and most coveted piece in that deal, locked Ingram down. Just did. I mean, as much as you can. Ingram still got 25. He's going to get 25 every game to 30, right? Yeah. To 35, even sometimes 40. Right. They didn't have that before. I don't think people realize they didn't have a lockdown perimeter defender. They have that now in Jared Vanderbilt. They didn't have that point guard that could shoot threes, that can create his own shot, no offense to Russ, that can alleviate pressure off of LeBron James and make him play less minutes. They have that. And now Schroeder, coming off of the bench, can give you some minutes and be able to do that for you. To a lesser extent to Russell, of course. But now he has less pressure on him, and Schroeder should be able to play better. And then you have Troy Brown Jr., who's been excellent this year, by the way, who has really had an abysmal first couple of seasons in the NBA, and he's still young. I think he's 23, 24 years old. He was a former first-round pick. What was he shooting?
36% from three.
That's really good.
That's gotten up from because to begin he was really bad. Every time I see him shoot now, it's either a make or a close make.
Yeah,
he's been really good lately.
And that's why he's in the rotation over Lonnie Walker. By the way, was their third best player, the 11th man. Mo Bamba in there for interior defense. This team has the ability to go in and win a couple of tough playoff series. They do. They have a lot of work to do, though. Was it too late, Grant? Was it too late? Because you look at their schedule. It's a must-win game on Thursday against Golden State, which I do expect them to win. In fact, they're playing at home, and they're favored 80%. I mean, is the power
overwhelming?
Overwhelming. I mean, and they should. They just beat the team without LeBron.
True.
And there's no Curry. And there's not going to be a Curry for the Warriors. If it was Curry who was playing, obviously the Warriors would be favored probably, or close to being favored. Whether LeBron plays or not, the Lakers are going to be favored. They need to win. And then they have to win one of these. They have the gauntlet. They have to win one of those 2 road games, Memphis and Dallas. They have to go into one of those places and win.
And not just Memphis and Dallas, OKC too, especially after what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander said in his post-game interview. I don't know if did you see what he said?
I saw it, but they're going to win.
The Lakers are going to win?
Yeah, because they choked at home. A team, the difference about this Lakers team, they have some moxie. They do have moxie. I know they've blown a lot of close games, but they have some moxie. Unlike teams previous, I do think they go into Oklahoma City and pull out a victory and really avenge their loss, that embarrassing loss on the record-breaking night. Talk about that. Some overlooked, what an embarrassing bad loss. And the Trailblazers lost. No LeBron. We'll give them that. The team was still getting acclimated. I like Rui Hachimura. I mean, keep talking about it. Grant, do they have what it takes? Do they have what it takes to get not only into the play-in, because I think it's 90% they get into the play-in because of the talent.
Yeah.
I think one of these teams is going to falter. Utah is going to continue to try and lose. I don't think they're built for it, despite their good offensive rating. Anthony Simon's going to be out for the Blazers for a couple months, a good amount of time. So that's clear time for Lakers to go like this. So you're looking at the Thunder, the Warriors, and the Timberwolves and Pelicans as their only competition. And for me, it kind of seems like not only is the play-in attainable, I think the 6th seed is attainable.
Me too.
Very attainable. In fact, they're only, especially if they win this game against Dallas, because Dallas is the 6th seed right now. Yeah, by the way, right? Dallas is the 6th seed. I think Sacramento is a phony team. They're going to falter at some point, even though Grant disagrees. I think they're phonies. They're phonies. They have no playoff experience. People would be licking their chops to play them in the first round. They will get swept. Almost.
Okay, I'm not.
This is the worst 3 seed I think we've ever seen, by the way, right now. Like, they're that bad, dude. The Hawks with Paul Millsap were more of a legitimate 1 seed than this Kings team is a 3 seed. This Kings team's terrible. I'm sorry. They play no defense. They're going to get smacked in the playoff series when you need to play defense. Sorry for my little side rant. What I do say is I expect the Clippers to get to that 3 seed. I expect the Suns to get 4 or 3. Those are going to be 3 and 4, right? Grizzlies, Nuggets are going to stay 1 and 2 probably. Yeah, maybe the Clippers or Suns catch them, but I think those are for sure the top 4. Then I think the Kings start spiraling down, and maybe they maintain the 5, 6, 7 seed. I don't expect them to get to the 8, 9, 10. But the Lakers, they're only 3.5 games back, man. They're only 3.5 games back of the 6th seed of Dallas. And if they win against Golden State, which is a lot to ask, let's say they do, and they're 28 and 32, still 4 games under. Could you have won a little earlier? Would have helped.
Yeah.
But then you play Dallas. You beat Dallas. You're only 2.5 games back of the 6th seed with about 21 games to go. That's the perfect scenario. I don't care what happens in Memphis. I expect them to lose in Memphis because Memphis basically should have won a game in LA and they choked.
Memphis isn't playing well either.
They're not playing well, but I expect them to win that game. Dallas is the game they need to win. Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic, probably both going to be healthy. They need to go in there and shock the world, especially after that abysmal Christmas Day showing where they didn't even have Kyrie Irving. That is a must-win game. Both of those, Golden State, Dallas, in my opinion.
Yeah, the Lakers, to me, it's not a matter of them. It's a matter of everyone else. They have plenty to contend. And I'm not just saying get into the playoffs. I'm saying contend. This is a roster that, if healthy, with the depth that they've upgraded now, is scary in a playoff scenario. I mean, if you're the Denver Nuggets and you get to play the Lakers with LeBron and Davis healthy and that depth that they have in the first round, not really what you'd like to see, right? If they get the 8. This is if they're in the play-in. Now, if they're in a playoff scenario, that's a lot harder to get to, in my opinion, because you got to understand, and I've said this on the radio too, is that you have to have the other teams in front of you lose. And with everyone beating up on each other, do you really think that it's attainable for them to get to a 6 seed where they're a 13 seed right now? Because they still have to have Dallas lose, Utah lose, Portland lose, New Orleans lose, OKC lose. They have to have 5 to 6 teams kind of tank a little bit for them to rise above it.
Well, we know,
like, they can beat whoever they want, but you have to have the other teams lose as well. That's why it's such a tough scenario for me, because this team needs some time to gel. Their chemistry looked awesome in that New Orleans game. It looked really good with D'Angelo Russell throwing
in the beginning.
Yeah, throwing no-look lobs to AD.
Looked like the best unit in the league.
Right, it looked awesome. I was like, what is this team? But you got to understand, like, there's still chemistry issues there. You still got to figure out rotations, and that's why Darvin Ham, for me, is the number one thing that Laker fans should be worried about. Darvin Ham is I'm not going to say, he's basketball terrorist along with Ty Lue. But,
let's be, come on, Ty Lue won a championship.
Okay, fine, but I'm talking about this year. We're talking about current stuff right
Ty
now.
Lue is still a much better coach.
Okay, yes. That's all right. Well, that's not
he can implement defense.
It's not saying much, though, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Well, Darvin Ham's young. Give him a chance.
That's not what they need right now. They need a proven coach.
Get Frank Vogel. Go get Frank Vogel. He's won a championship.
It's not about the roster anymore. It's about the head coach making his rotations, because he's still going to bench Rui. He's still going to bench Lonnie Walker for no reason. At least give Lonnie Walker like 5 to 10 minutes, not play him in garbage time. He's a great
Lonnie
player.
Walker's a hooper, man.
And
for real.
not just that, but the fact that now that they have the roster set, do they have that mindset? I think now they have that mindset of, okay, we got all the vampires off of our team, as Dave McMenamin says. The vampires. Now that you get all those guys out and you kind of clear house, now you have your set roster. For me, it's the coaching and it's the mentality.
And you have to be, and by the way, yes, you hit it right on the money because
it's not the roster anymore.
And I wrote this about in the article too. Darvin Ham has to be consistent with rotations.
Yes.
He just does. The teams that end up winning championships, they have the same rotations down the stretch. What the Celtics did last year to turn it around in the second half, which I think the Lakers to a lesser extent can be similar, obviously not as good and go on a run like them, but it's the same rotations. You start with that death lineup every game. You don't stretch LeBron too thin. You sit him a little more in the first half, let him play more in the second half to keep him in close games later, because you never want to have him eclipse 35 minutes right now. And he was playing 38, 40 minutes like every game before, and he's tired. You just can't do that. If they do that, but there's also, by the way, he has to leave D'Angelo Russell in longer. He took him out. He took everybody out, that whole lineup, and the lead went like this, right? I mean, most genius coaches leave one guy in, like, okay, we'll take LeBron and AD out. Okay, D'Angelo.
Well, they stagger. They usually stagger.
D'Angelo,
but he just clears the house.
You know, like, D'Angelo, go do your thing. Russell, go in there and go get me. Russell's a trigger word now for the Lakers. I'll call him D'Angelo. I'll call him D'Angelo. D'Lo. Deloading. Just go in there and go get a bucket. Because, by the way, that is so important to their success too. D'Angelo Russell has the ability to be an offensive star, a superstar. Mm-hmm. He does. He has it all in him. Mm-hmm. But he gets passive. Have you noticed that? He'll take over a game, and he can do it whenever he wants, by the way. But sometimes he'll just defer to contested Malik Beasley or Troy Brown Jr. or throw it or let Dennis Schroeder jack up shots instead of taking it. D'Angelo Russell needs to understand he is the third best player on a championship caliber team now. Okay?
It's true.
It's his time to shine. He needs to be able to take over the games. But sometimes be the number one option when it's needed. Sometimes. If Davis isn't getting anything and LeBron needs some rest, D'Angelo needs to take over. So that's important. Ham needs to play him more. I think D'Angelo's only playing 30 minutes. He needs 33 to 35 minutes. I mean, he's in his prime. He's 26. He's not 38 like LeBron. Davis also needs to be playing at an MVP level. We finally saw him play at that MVP level in the New Orleans game.
That was great.
Is that sustainable? Will he be back? Or will he play like he did in the Portland game where he's 8 out of 18 from the floor? And
I don't know what his mentality is right now.
His points per 100 shot attempts, by the way, was ranked in the 85th percentile early on in the season, which is excellent for a guy like him, for a big. And it went down to the 68th percentile. So it's like it was because of that stretch when he came back from injury. He just hasn't been the same. So we finally saw that there's a lot of questions. I want to move on to other teams that can make a run, and I do want to save some time for a singular player who used to be an all-star that we'll talk about a bit later, and about his career and how it's gone. I think you could probably guess who that is based on me saying that. But let's talk about other teams you think can make a run, because I think the teams personally that I don't want to face in a series if I'm a team are the Clippers, because of their depth and their stardom. Plain and simple. The Mavericks. I'm sorry, I don't want to play Luka and Kyrie in a series. I don't care.
I want to get into that.
Oh, you want to get into that?
Should I do it now?
No. Okay. I will say my team. We'll get into that. So we disagree there. I'm sorry. The way Kyrie's playing, I don't want to see him. I know he looked abysmal in that Brooklyn series last year against the Celtics, but I don't want to see them. I don't want to see Phoenix, and I don't want to see Denver. Right now, I would love to see, as I mentioned, the phonies. Let's call them the phonies. Sacramento. Phonies, light the beam. Congratulations. Here's your participation medal. You are never winning a championship and probably never getting past the second round of the playoffs.
Okay.
Not never, but over the next couple of years.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I understand Sabonis and Fox, fantastic players.
You said duos with good depth. That's kind of what they have.
Yes, but they don't play any defense, Grant. That's the problem.
Okay, I was just going to say that about the team you just mentioned.
Dallas. They do not play any defense. All right. Say. So those are the 5 teams. So go ahead. What are your thoughts on Dallas?
My piece about Dallas.
Okay, let's.
We were just talking about duos with depth, right? And how duos, when you surround them with good quality shot makers, some wings, that can, create off of you, that it's a recipe for success. And all I'm hearing about the Mavericks is how great Kyrie is and how great Luka is, and I don't hear anything else about anybody. Sure, Jaden Hardy had a great game. Sure, Josh Green has had a few
Christian Wood's been great.
Yeah, sure but he's also a cone on defense. Christian Wood's not that.
Yeah, he can't guard a parked car.
He has not been the defender that I thought that they were getting, because he's been a pretty good shot blocker in years past.
One block a game,
right.
At least, right?
But he's just not been. I don't know what it is. But he's been talking on Twitter about his contract, and it seems like he's not happy there. So that was the best guy next to Luka before he got Kyrie. Okay, now he's back, and now he's kind of shuffled off to be the third guy. With Kyrie and Luka, sure, you're going to get a ton of offense, but the defense, and you're going to say that, it doesn't matter because they're such great offensive players, they're such superstars. What is their bench? Let me ask you, we asked about the Suns bench. What is the Mavericks bench
Josh
right
Green,
now?
or is he starting?
You tell me, because they have a decision to make there too. Do you start Jaden Hardy or Josh Green? Do you keep them on the bench?
I mean, I'd start him over Reggie Bullock. That guy can't make a shot, except if he plays the Clippers, then he can make a shot.
I just asked you about the bench. There are question marks with their starting lineup right now.
Besides Wood, Irving, and Doncic, yeah, you're right.
Bullock and Hardaway?
Yes. And here's where, because, yes, they are a very similar team to the D'Antoni teams, right?
And they never won anything.
Well, D'Antoni teams have never won. They've never won. All the Phoenix teams, great offense, no defense. Statistically, I've mentioned the stat before. Now I've done even more research. 15 out of the last 16 NBA champions. 15 out of the last 16 NBA champions. Top 11 defensive rating. You need to have a good defense to win a championship.
Looking at it right here.
And what are they, 25th?
They're 24th out of 115.
Even the Lakers are 18th in defensive rating. They could make their way up to 11th. Dallas isn't going to be a top 11 defense. And therefore, statistically, unless Doncic has the best postseason of all time, it's going to be hard for them to win a championship.
And most of that sample size is with your best perimeter defender in Dorian Finney-Smith and another great defender in Spencer Dinwiddie, which they just traded.
But I'm saying in the first round. First rounds are different. James Harden and Russell Westbrook dominated teams in the first round.
Okay, fine, first round, but... Okay, if they
I don't want to play superstars in the first round. I want to play the Kings. You know what I'm saying?
So you're just saying you're afraid of them in the first round. You're not afraid of them.
I'm not. They're not going to win a championship.
Okay, see that now we're talking.
I agree with Grant there. I mean, if I'm a betting man, you look at who are the best defenses in the league with a great team. Well, you would look at, and this is why Denver might not be able to win a championship. What's their defensive rating?
The best. I mean.
26th. They have a really bad defense. But that's why the Bucks are a team that could win it all. The Celtics are a team that could win it all. Even Memphis has a shot because their defense is great. It's excellent. I hate to say
that's
it.
What I'm saying.
I mean, even Memphis has a shot. We talk crap about Memphis. They're kind of getting quiet now. They might actually surprise some people in the playoff. Denver, tell me about it, because Jokic is maybe the one player that I've ever seen that could maybe win a championship without a defense.
Yeah, I understand that, and there's a lot of people that are kind of cooling off on Denver just because KD went to the Suns and because Kyrie went to the Mavericks. People are kind of forgetting how
they have the 1 seed locked up.
How good, right? How good Denver actually is. Like, Denver is not just a team like in years past where it's Jokic and Murray and really nobody else. No, they have Aaron Gordon, who almost made the All-Star team. You have Bruce Brown, who is an underrated acquisition on that wing side on the bench. You have KCP now, who's been really good.
I mean, he's a champ.
Really good. Yeah. So you have all these recipes for teams that usually go to the finals or the Western Conference Finals, right? You have this really good core. They don't technically have, like, the best duo. Like, we were talking about duo and depth.
Yeah.
They don't really have the best duo, right? They don't. I mean,
Murray's
good. Murray and Jokic is good.
They play amazing together,
but it's not as good as some other duos like Tatum and Brown. And you have, Giannis and Middleton, or Giannis and Drew Holiday. You can, in the East, and then you have, Kawhi and Paul George. You have Book and KD. You have Kyrie and Luka,
which we haven't seen, but
right.
Yes.
So you have the recipe, I guess you could say, for a championship squad for Denver. But like you said, there are defensive concerns. They just got Thomas Bryant, a center who can't play defense.
But amazing offensive center.
Yeah, he's an awesome player. We both love TB.
Yeah.
We've said this since
he's
the
one of the
Lakers
highest PSAs in the league.
And, you have a recipe for that, but there's just something for me that's off about the Denver Nuggets. Like, there's, like, is Michael Porter Jr. going to be really good when it counts?
Can Mike Malone coach in the playoffs?
Right, because he's proven that sometimes he has lapses in the playoffs.
Except, I'll tell you, the one team they're safe against. There's only one team the Nuggets are. Lock it in. Clippers do not want to see the Nuggets in the playoffs. They will do, as it stands, guess who they will play in the second round? If they make it past. If they beat right now they would play Phoenix in the first round and Denver in the second round. That's the Clippers 9-11 right there. You have to play Booker and Durant in the first round and then Denver in the second round.
And are we getting bubble Jamal Murray, or are we getting Jamal Murray?
Jamal Murray's going to play excellent in the playoffs. He looks amazing when he's on the court this year. I mean, he started off a little shaky, but Jamal Murray I trust in the playoffs right now. I do. What I will say is there are concerns there. I do think. Let me tell you this: Pelicans deep playoff run or no?
No, I used to think so, and I
They need Zion. They need him.
I know, and he just had another setback. And
it doesn't look like he's going to be ready for the play-in tournament.
No, and that's the thing. Like, how can I count on the Pelicans? Like we keep saying this about the Clippers, but now we have to say it about the Pelicans. Is like, okay, sure, you have a great roster on paper, but when they're not healthy, they're not good.
Okay,
and they're not healthy, and they're not good.
What about the Warriors?
The Warriors, but here's the thing about the Warriors is that they've proven to me, at least over the past 5-6 years, is that when a player goes down, Steph Curry actually had an injury last year, around this time, where it kept him out for a month with that foot injury.
Yeah, I remember.
He came back off the bench in Game 1 of the playoffs. He came off the bench, and apparently it didn't really matter because they went on a run anyways when he came back. So I'm not as worried with the Warriors losing a player as I am with the Pelicans or any other team.
I am, and it's not because of the players. It's because of their defense. Their previous championship teams last year, they had the second best defense in the NBA. They would have had the first if Draymond was healthy the whole year. Draymond had an excellent season last year. Even the Kevin Durant teams, their worst defensive rating. They were the one defense that was out of the 15 of the last 16 championships, that was not a top 11 defense. It was one of the Kevin Durant teams. They don't have Kevin Durant. Their defensive rating over their last couple of championships has been excellent. It's 20th this year. It's ranked 20th. The Lakers have a better defensive rating right now than them.
And do you cue that up to being Otto Porter and Gary Payton?
I do. I think the lack of wings, like if Payton comes back healthy, they have a chance. I mean, because they need wings. But losing Otto Porter Jr., I mean, having a perimeter defender that can not only guard on the perimeter, but like he can shoot. They don't have that this year. DiVincenzo's a guard. He cannot guard the perimeter. As much as I love him, he's been great for them. So is Ty Jerome. All these guys that Steve Kerr just makes guys, diamonds in the roughs. Kuminga's having to play a lot.
Kind of like the Chiefs.
I think their season kind of relies on Jonathan Kuminga and how he develops as a shooter. Because there's some games where I think Jonathan Kuminga is like maybe 5 out of 12 from 3, which is like excellent for him. And there's other games where he's 0 out of 10 from 3, and not, there's inconsistencies. And he's young, and I still think he's going to be a very good NBA player. But I think this season relies on, obviously, Curry coming back, which I think is going to happen. It might take time.
He'll come back.
It's going to come back. They're going to be in the play-in at the very least. They're not going to get kicked out of the playoffs. I just don't think. They have too many pieces with Poole and Clay. Clay's been great recently. But it's going to rely, them making a deep run is going to be about Kuminga stepping up and Moses Moody and guys like that. And Gary Payton coming back healthy. It's going to be important because they're first in assists per game. They pass the ball at a really great level. They have a good offense. And this is without Curry, right? So, I mean, look, the thing that gets me a little scared is we know how good the Lakers can be, but they lost to the Lakers without LeBron, dude. And they got just outplayed.
And with a brand new team. I mean, I think it was Rui Hachimura that said that we were just hooping. We didn't even have
that kind of scares me about Golden State. I mean, that's why. How could they be
They're
favored?
20th in defensive rating now.
How could they be favored in a game against LA right now? If you were to open a series,
both LAs.
Well, obviously the Clippers they would lose to. If you were to open a series right now without Stephen Curry, who would you take? The Lakers or the Warriors?
Lakers.
And how many games? 5,
6.
You think the Warriors would get 2 without Curry?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The Warriors are still a good team without Steph Curry.
Of course. So because Jordan Poole turns into discount Steph Curry.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It kind of fills the gap.
Okay.
There, but.
Well, so there's that. But I can't.
But still, the Lakers beating them is big.
This is similar to the Chiefs, where it's like can't count out Mahomes.
That's
can't
why
count
I'm
out
not
Steph
doing
Curry.
it. I did it last year.
Wait. I'm not counting them out. I think it's going to be very hard for them to win a championship. This is going to be their toughest one if they're going to win this. If they win this championship, Steph Curry is a top 5 player of all time if he comes back and they win. I'm sorry. He's already top 10 to 15. So I mean it's like if Steph Curry comes back and wins this championship after everything that's happened with Durant going to the Suns, Kyrie coming to the Mavericks, the Lakers all of a sudden maybe they go on a run and be good, Denver and Jokic. If Steph Curry silences all of that, comes back, and by the way, he was having the best season of his career efficiency-wise before he got hurt. If he comes back and wins a championship, the rest of the league just needs to give up. I mean, like, there's no beating that guy if he comes back and does that. Like, that's excellence. That is greatness.
That's what I'm banking on when I make my contender, like, who can win a title.
And that's why Denver, it's hard. You're right. It's like they haven't shown us. They beat the Clippers. Yeah, that was impressive.
3 years ago.
That was 3 years ago.
You know, I need to see something.
Well, and they looked bad against the Lakers. The Lakers beat their butt, right? Yeah. 5 games.
I mean, Vogel ran circles around Mike Malone back then.
I still think Mike Malone, there's some flaws. They're a beatable team. They lost to the Magic a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, what do you think their flaw is with him? Like, his flaw? Do you think it's keeping guys in too long? His rotations? Or do you think, like, it's his offensive play style?
I think his rotations are actually pretty good. Because he has Jokic perfectly in. Like, Jokic will play 10 minutes in the first quarter, 5, 6 minutes,
Jamal Murray.
5, 6 minutes in the second quarter.
Yeah.
I think Mike Malone's kind of getting carried by Aaron Gordon's career year.
Okay.
I think that's probably because Aaron Gordon hasn't been this player the last couple of years. We saw that originally maybe in his 4th season for the Magic where he was like, and that's when they decided, we're going to make the trade. Mm-hmm. He's been amazing on both ends of the floor this year. He's been great. Michael Porter Jr. has been what we thought he was going to be. I mean, I think he still has the ability to become a star, but he really just needs... The thing I'm seeing for Michael Porter Jr., which kind of concerns me about their cap situation, because they're giving they give him like 5 years, $182 million. The thing that concerns me is his shot creation, because other than spot up and shoot, can he really get to the rim by himself? I mean, he's tall.
He doesn't look like as spry as he did, because he had a back injury last year, which kept him out a lot of the year.
I mean, there's some games where like Michael Porter Jr., this guy's like the best shooter in basketball.
I know,
best young shooter in basketball.
You just can't miss.
And then there's times when you're like, when they need him to get going, and he just cannot create shots for himself sometimes. And that's kind of that for me. That's a no-go when you're paying a guy $185 million.
True.
So that might hurt them long term, but I think him with Jokic, obviously, that helps. Gordon with Jokic, they have the team to do it. I wanted to switch gears here to the East before we end on a certain player. For me, I know you disagree with this take. I think death taxes, the Eastern Conference is going to come down to Milwaukee and Boston. There is no other team that can beat those two. I mean, one of them may lose. I'm just saying to like get upset by a Sixers or Cavs or Knicks even, who have looked. Knicks, don't sleep on the Knicks, by the way.
Pretty good.
But my main point here is one of them is coming out of the Eastern Conference, and I think that's guaranteed. And nothing's guaranteed in life. Well, you think Cleveland's going to come out of? Certainly isn't going to be a Doc Rivers coach team.
I'm not ruling anybody out.
I'm ruling the Doc Rivers coach team out. I'm sorry. I mean, what do I have to say? Death taxes, Doc Rivers choking in a playoff series. I don't care how good Harden and Embiid have been. They will find a way to choke. They just will. Harden in the playoffs, Doc Rivers as a coach. They will find a way. It might be the win might be gifted to them, and they'll still choke. Look at that game early on in the season when they had the 8-point lead against the Lakers. And the Lakers started pressing. The Lakers started pressing. And the Lakers were in a bad stretch. And they still forced them to overtime. That is the 76ers I expect to see in the playoffs when stuff's on the line. Sure, Embiid will get to the line 18 times or whatever he does in a game.
I know you don't believe in Harden. I don't think anybody does.
Not in the playoffs.
I tried to give him a chance last year. I was like, okay.
I mean, he should have been an all-star. He's been playing amazing this year. But in the playoffs, we know what James Harden turns into, other than that 1 year in Houston with Chris Paul where he was great. So I think, tell me, is any other team going to get out of the Eastern Conference? Miami?
Cleveland.
Cleveland's coming out of the Eastern Conference.
I'm not saying, but you said, is there any other team that could? Cleveland. What are Cleveland's flaws?
You're right. Oh, you're gonna make me change my point.
Because
I don't want to change
no, they
my
do
point.
have flaws because I would like to have seen them get another shooter. They got Danny Green, but I don't think Danny Green's gonna contribute that much.
He was on NBA Today.
They're on an 8. I know. I don't know why. They're on an 8-game winning streak.
Yeah.
Going into this All-Star break, they went. I was saying this on the radio.
No, they lost to Philly.
Okay.
For the break.
They're
so they were
7-1 in their last 8. Sorry.
Yeah.
But they had a 16.1, I think, plus minus over the past month or so.
That's a lot.
That's more than the Celtics by 7. They're not just a team that's, okay, maybe they're having a hot streak right here. They had a great start, then they kind of tailed off a little bit, and now they're getting back into their stride. They have defenders on the wing.
Yes.
They have a great center. They have 2 stars. Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell.
Darius Garland. Still kind of inconsistent.
He made an All-Star team last year. If you made an All-Star team recently, I'm going to call you a star.
No, he's great. He can take over games. I think the issue is with the Cavs. This is a funny issue. I think they are in that funny position where they have so many good players now. They kind of don't know what to do sometimes. Like, do I take over?
You don't trust Baker's staff? Is that what it is? Like, you don't.
I just think sometimes it wanes a little bit.
Okay.
Like Mitchell is the guy, but sometimes he's off. Sometimes Mitchell looks like one of the worst players in the league, and sometimes he looks like the best player in basketball. Like, you know, like he has some inconsistency issues. So then they turn to Darius Garland. He'll step up, and he has. Mobley's. I think this season for the Cavs is going to rely on, can Mobley stay consistent like he has the past couple of weeks offensively?
Okay.
Because that's what's pushed them over the edge. Mobley being able to go get you 25 when Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell can't play.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we know they have the best defense in basketball. They do. Right now, 109.8. And yes, technically, statistically, they have a very good chance to make the NBA Finals and win. And now they have Donovan Mitchell, who is the star that can take you over the top and win a championship.
Good. He hasn't just been Donovan Mitchell. He's been Donovan Mitchell.
As much as I want to go back on my take, I just cannot see a scenario where it's not Milwaukee or Boston in the finals. I can't. And I don't care. I just think maybe they're a year away. They're a year away from doing it. They're a year away. I think they get to the East semis, and maybe they pull off an upset against Milwaukee and Boston in the East semis and get to the Eastern Conference Finals. But either team that they hadn't beat, that they face in the Eastern Conference Finals, will beat them, or in the semis, if that makes sense. Like, I still think I can't see a scenario at the end of the day where it's not Milwaukee or Boston in the finals. I just can't. I can't.
Yeah, but, you know, here's the thing that I'll say about that is we kind of thought, like, at this point last year, the 1 and 2 seeds were like, oh, the Suns are going to play in the finals. Like, of course they are.
Yeah.
And they lost. Who was the 1 seed last year? It was the Heat, right? The Heat were the 1 seed.
And the Suns. Well, we knew the Heat were a phony 1 seed.
But they were one shot away from going to the finals. So like
Jimmy Butler should have went to the rack.
I know. I know. But my point here is that the teams that we always think are going to go to the finals, usually at this point, I'm saying at this point, like February, late February, March, the teams that we usually think are going to go to the finals never go.
Think Phoenix was going to the finals. I said it was going to be Memphis or Golden State, and so did you.
No, I thought it was going to be Suns-Bucks rematch again, but
that was in January. Once we got to like February, March, and we saw.
But I didn't see the Warriors going on a run. I didn't, at least. I thought, okay, they're a 4 or 5 seed. They're really
I know.
They were without Curry. I didn't really see it, but then they did. A
lot
of people are like, oh, they're off. The dynasty's over.
Well, I thought the winner of Memphis Golden State was going to the finals.
And the other thing, we did not see Dallas going as far as they did.
No one did, by the way.
So you can nobody saw the Heat. I mean, the Heat were a 1 seed, but they're the most phony 1 seed you can.
And they were one. You were right, 1 shot away.
Right. So we can't say, okay, this team's for sure, because the Celtics could have an injury. The Bucks, Giannis is hurt right now. He just got a wrist injury, which is thankfully not significant, but he's going to be out for a few games, so that affects seeding.
Okay,
you know, so like,
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I just think it's so hard to not.
It's really hard to not put them in.
Put Milwaukee or Boston in the finals, right?
It's really
the
hard.
West is certainly more open. Let's end here. Okay, the guy. Okay, you want to name this player for me? Let's play. Okay, name a game. 3 All-Star games ago in 2020, this player had 17 points, 6 assists and 5 rebounds, or 5
in
rebounds
All-Star
and
game?
6 assists in the All-Star game. Now, he hasn't been an All-Star in a couple of years. Do you want me to give it to you? He's
No.
averaging 8, pretty much.
Eastern Conference or Western Conference?
Who do you think it is?
I think it's Eastern Conference.
Of course, you know who it is.
I don't though.
8 he's averaging, or like 8.75.
No, that's not
He's
bad.
scared to shoot.
Oh, Ben Simmons.
Okay.
It's Ben
Can we
Simmons.
talk about this for a
Yes,
second?
he needs to go off.
Three All-Star games ago, the man was a jumper away from being an MVP of the NBA. That's how good he
I
was.
know.
That's
People
how
are
good
comparing
he
him
was.
to LeBron.
Yeah, he was a jumper away from being MVP. He had 17.6 assists and 5 rebounds in an All-Star game just 2.5, 3 years ago, 2020.
Yeah.
Why is he scared to shoot? Why? Take over. Take over. He's so talented. It makes me mad. By the way, I gave him too much credit. 8. He's 6'6". That's a little sketchy, but, I'll give him a 6.9. 7, 6, and 6. 6.9. There you go. 7.6.3 rebounds, 6.1 assists. He's only played 19.1 minutes per game. No one wants his contract. What is going on? The dude's only 27 years old?
Well,
right? Like
the thing about it,
26. He's 26.
Is that I sent this in our group chat is a highlight reel of Ben Simmons when he was like an all-star, and he was so confident going to the rim. First of all, confidence is a big thing. Second of all, he was moving way differently back then, to where I think that his back injury, and people were clowning on his back injury, it was a real thing, and you can tell now that he's not moving the same way.
Yeah.
So those two things right there are really big factors into it. He had that whole mental health thing where it seemed like he was really getting a lot of hate from Philly and the Philly fans and the Sixers and a lot of players around the league, and that really took a toll on him. So I really wish him the best in that. But the second thing is probably the biggest one, is his back injury. I think the back injury really debilitates what he can do, what he did do, because when he was that guy, when he was the number one guy for the Sixers, and when he was with Joel Embiid and they're playing out of their minds, he looked fast, he looked powerful, he was confident going to the rim, he got up a lot higher, he could run the fast break in no time. He was like Russell Westbrook, like back then. He was literally like Russell Westbrook in a bigger frame, which is crazy because now it's kind of switched to where Russell Westbrook and him are the same, where they can't shoot, they turn the ball over a lot. And Ben Simmons' defense was a big part of his game, right? You know this.
Yeah.
He was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate in 2020.
Should have won.
And
right?
now you see flashes, but it's not like the consistency that we saw that year. And it really sucks to see a talent like that, because I've kind of put him in that category of Markelle Fultz, where Markelle Fultz went through a lot of injuries early. It's kind of a flip-flop. Like, Markelle Fultz went through a lot of injuries early, a lot of mental health stuff. And now he went to this is what Ben Simmons do. Markelle Fultz went to the Magic, where he could just rehab, get better.
Been their best player.
And he's been awesome. He's been so good. And Ben Simmons needs to get out of a contending team, get out of a big market, and go to San Antonio, go to Charlotte, go to any of these little teams, like even go to Portland, because Portland needs a guy like him. Yeah. Go to one of these teams where you can reestablish your brand, you can reestablish who you are, who you were, and then get a bigger contract and build that confidence that you need, right? Because that's, I think, the main thing is with the back injury is his confidence. His confidence is just shot.
And it's so sad to see. I hope he does well, has that Markelle Fultz type of turn. That's all the time we have today. Thank you for listening to the Baller Sports Dialogue podcast presented by the Sporting Tribune. It's your co-host, Brandon Deutsch and Grant Mono. We wish you the best. Thank you for listening.